Hello, amazing people. Welcome to another episode of the Rising Again podcast. And first of all, I trust you guys have been well. I trust, of course, the blessings of God, which are overwhelming and outpouring, have been with you and the rest all the week. And you guys feel proud of yourselves. You guys have been kicking it hard. So I'm proud of you for whatever thing you've taken, whatever step you've taken, everything you've made an effort to work through, your trauma, what has been holding you back, and at the end of the day, we just want to become better versions of ourselves. And as I always tell you, the best version of yourself can only be found in God. So I even want to encourage us to just make sure as we go on with this journey of life, we submit ourselves to God and God will straighten our path. I was reading the book of Psalms chapter 37 and it says that I have never seen the righteous being forsaken by God, nor their children begging for bread. So it's like our God is so great. Our God always He knows what we want, so before we even tell Him. And when you have God, it's like life will not be easy, but it will be fun all through. It's like sometimes you go through stuff, but at the end of the day, God just gives you a reassurance and you find Him working in a way that you never just expected. So I want to urge us to make sure that we just commit ourselves to God and everything will be fine. So anyway, today I wanted to talk about something. A couple of people have been asking me, Sam, how do I work on my confidence? I feel like I have stage fright, I have anxiety, I don't know what to do. And at some point we will always find ourselves like being in the public limelight or being in the public attention. So at some point you have to work on this. For example, if you want to be a business person, you want to be a CEO of your company or a business, you just have to work on yourself, because you'll have to address your employees, you have to address the management, you have to address the shareholders or the members of your company. So yeah, or maybe you'll be a company secretary and you find yourself in such situations everywhere. Even if it will be a small business, you'll be a parent, you'll be expected to maybe give a guidance on something to your, let me say, siblings, to your villagers. So leadership starts from within to the without. So it has to start from within, then it goes without, like that is inside out. So most of us make the mistake of trying to work on ourselves outside in. So it's like we have all these voices in our heads that tell us we are not worthy. It's like, you can't do this, I know you are a failure. Why do you think you're good? You'll never be enough. Then the only way you try to work on this is by now trying to do things externally. For example, you work so hard on hitting the gym. Going to the gym is not bad, but if you're really relying on the muscles to get the validation, to make people fear you, you're screwed. So, and maybe you should dress well, but I remember when I was in this stage of life, I was in campus. So I would focus so much on my looks. So I would go buy this expensive clothes because I thought when I bought this and people looked at me, they would think like, hey, this nigga is really, like, he's really dope. So you see, the point was external validation. You're really struggling for that, and at some point I just felt like it wasn't helping me. Like, when you rely so much on being a people pleaser or seeking external validation, it doesn't work for you. You just feel like you are a slave to people, because it's like people's opinions will always matter to you. Just do your thing. It's tough. You'll always feel like you need to worry about people. But at some point, I listened to Chris Williamson and he says, if someone is advising you, look at their life. If they are living a life that you don't want, then don't take their advice. Just, okay, listen to them, but consider it as an opinion, more of an opinion. So, for example, if you have this friend who comes and tells you you should have fun, you should go out and do degenerate activities, and life is for the living. Then you look at their life and it's like they are struggling. They're always struggling with self-esteem issues, anxiety, and you've worked on yourself to some level. Why are you listening to such kind of a person? Like, for example, okay, you don't have everything figured out, but if you compare your life, you're doing better than this person. So why should they tell you what you should do? And if you look at their lives, honestly, it's not something you'd want to do. Okay, you don't compare, but you just look at it and you're like, does this guy know what he's telling me? And if I just look at his life, it's a mess. He needs to work on himself. He needs to fix his life. And he's here working so hard to advise me like, I need to have fun. Okay, just look at the point. So people have been asking me about how to work on my confidence. How should I work on my self-esteem? I don't know if I can really stand in front of a crowd. I don't know if I can address a multitude of people. And I was like, yo, my guy, I was here at some point. I felt like I couldn't really do this because there were voices in my head that would tell me, Sam, you're just that kid that was defined in your village like was nothing. You're just that young person that your uncles kept on referring to as an emaciated person, that your uncle would compare to your half brother, and they would say you are age mate, but you just have a pathetic body. So anytime I would stand, and in high school I was called a monkey, and so I don't know. I literally don't know. I've never understood the point from that time. So when I would stand, I would always look at myself like, okay, Sam, you're a monkey. Why are you talking? And I was like, okay, so monkeys don't address people. So it was really a bad point. Like, I was just deep into shit. Like, people's opinions were always defining me. And I was like, I never moved on. I never made a step in life. I never believed in myself. I never did the things I wanted to do because at some point I felt like I wasn't valuable to do such kind of things. So unless you fix your self-esteem, your past will always define you. And you know how your past defines you in a very great way. You're like, okay, Sam, or maybe let me say there's Belinda, or okay, Christine, or whatever. So, and I talk about childhood for so long because childhood experiences, maybe let's say advanced childhood experiences, will always define your life for a great time. So if you want to fix your confidence, the first point you need to do is you need to connect yourself to the supreme power. And I always tell you this, my life is nothing without God. Like today, if I just sat down and looked at my life, the whole series, everything, how it has been unfolding, it's been the power of God. It's been just by the grace of God. Like, I didn't even know I could reach the place I am today. Like, I was just a young kid in the village who didn't have okay, I was book smart, of course. I just wanted, because that was the only point I could get validation. Work hard in school, but I didn't really know, like, my life could turn out to be what it is today. I know there's more to come. There's more I need to work on. I need to commit my life to more to God. And yeah, so first point, there's no you without God. The best version of yourself everywhere, wholesomely, can be found in God alone. So the second point, so you make sure you commit your life to God. That's where our happiness comes from. Because you don't have, life will always have a way of throwing shit at you. And, you can't really control everything in life. So what happens if your worth or your sense of self-esteem has only been fixated upon material things? I don't say that we shouldn't work hard to have them. Of course, we want a good life because we'll have families. We don't want to raise our kids in poverty. Mazaya, we've been there and we don't want that. For those of us we've been there, that life is humbling. So we don't want to go back there. So we really have to work hard. We really have to sacrifice, pay the price, commit our lives to God, and do that. So I talk about, first of all, committing your life to God. Number two, I have to tell you, you have to walk through the pain that is holding you back. Like that painful experience that is always defining you. Maybe you had a relationship with someone, the way they treated you was very bad, and you're like, okay, so anytime you try to do something good, there's always that voice holding you back, like the way you're the way your dating partner or your spouse used to handle you, sorry if you're divorced. So yeah, that thing always has a power of holding you back. And I listen to my mentor, that is my mentor, Bedros Quillian. He says, hurt people hurt people. So it's like if you've been hurt, you'll always hurt people because you're bleeding. So you'll bleed on others who didn't even have a thing to do with why you are the person you are today. So, number 2, go through your trauma. I talked about this. Go and check my episode on do this to fix your life. I talk about the steps you can do to walk through trauma. Go and watch my episode on the effective morning routine. So I want to repeat the steps. I will just guide you. You can do journals. Just try to, first of all, forgive yourself, forgive the people who hurt you, and decide that I'm going to live a better life. Like, I shouldn't give them power. It's so unfair when someone literally ruined your life and you're still giving them the power to control your life because you are still holding yourself back to whatever they did. So, number 2, heal through your trauma. Decide you want to become a better person. Don't allow people's opinions to have a way of influencing your life. It's only God and the people that have helped us to become productive that should influence how we think. So if someone does not, someone just comes to pull you down, cut them off, bro. Cut them off. Says there's nothing better than having your peace of mind, and your peace of mind is in God already. So God gave us the peace, and who is a human being to snatch that from you? So that is number 2. Number 3, I want you to quit comparing yourself to other people. Rule number 4 of the 12 Rules for Life book by Professor Jordan B. Peterson says, compare yourself to the person you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. Of course, in life, you'll always find people who are doing better than you. Maybe, for example, for me, okay, I'm not talking about this from a point of pain, but I've been challenged. A couple of my classmates drive, they come to school with cars. So they come to school driving, and I'm like, I really ask them questions like, for example, there's this advocate that usually gives me a lift when I'm going to town, to school, and I'm very grateful. Sir, may God bless you. So I tend to ask him questions like, how did you become the person you are today? Like, what are some of the decisions you made that really propelled you towards becoming the person you are today? And you see, when they tell me their story, I realize that they were at a worse condition than mine at some point, and they decided to really work on themselves. They really worked hard, and you see, they became people who attracted the wealth. So it's like they attracted wealth by doing, focusing on working on themselves and working so hard, and realizing that at the end of the day, they were the only people to save their lives, so to change their situation. Yeah, so don't compare yourself to others, but be challenged. When you see people are doing better, don't hate on them, but be challenged to do better. So don't turn resentful towards rich people or wealthy people. I know so many young people, there's hate, especially when you grow up knowing that money is the root of all evil. Money is not the root of all evil. Money is just a neutral object. Yeah, so don't quit comparing yourself to others. Love yourself and celebrate your small wins. Actually, that is what I mixed. So, that is number 4. Learn to love yourself. So many people don't love themselves. And, okay, I'll go back to is it number 2? I'm not sure. Rule number 2 in the 12 Rules for Life book talks about treating yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. So, you find that so many people don't consider themselves worthy of anything. So when you start gradual step of trying to learn yourself, to love yourself, you'll kind of fall in love with your imperfections. You'll fall in love with your strengths and weaknesses. You'll know how to manage everything in life. So start the gradual journey towards loving yourself and celebrating your small wins. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't have to matter to the world. Sometimes you want to celebrate something and people are like, does this really even matter? Like, people have gone great milestones and you are really celebrating your first step. For example, if you just started a business, people have millions and billions in dollars, and you just started, maybe you made your first 10,000 and you're like, you go clap for yourself, maybe you go out just a solo date, celebrate that win, because at the end of the day, it doesn't have to matter to the world. If it only matters to yourself, that is okay. So celebrate your small wins, regardless of whether people think that it matters or not, or whether it's a big milestone or not. Celebrate your small win. Number 4, that is number 5. I'm really like, what did I want to talk about? Okay, basically I don't come with a script. I just talk about everything, because all of the things I talk about are from a personal experience. So quit comparing yourself to others, celebrate your small wins, and then be patient with yourself. Honestly, this journey to fixing your confidence will take time. This journey to self-improvement takes time. You won't be perfect, so I want you to be patient with yourself. Do this healing journey. Sometime you'll find yourself going back to all these things that have been trying to hold you back, but you don't have to punish yourself and feel like, oh, now it's not even working. You'll feel like it's not working. I've been into self-improvement for the last 20, let me say 3 years right now. Yeah, 3 years, because it's literally 3 years. And at some point I felt like I was digressing. At some point I felt like I was just reverting back to my previous conditions. At some point I felt like nothing was working out, but when I just prayed to God for the grace to move on, for the grace to be resilient and stay, like, that has worked for me. So be patient. It won't happen in an instance, but at the end of the day, you'll be proud. Like, it will all happen and you'll be like, wow. So looking back and you're like, so all this has happened, and you give God the praise, because at the end of the day, it's not by our strength, it's not by our power, but it's by God that showers us mercy. So yeah, be patient. It will take time. Then the last thing I want you to do is try reading self-improvement books. Connect yourself with people who challenge you to become better, and set your boundaries. So I know some of us went through a livelihood that was kind of challenging in our childhood, and so we tend to succumb to people pleasing. We don't have boundaries on how people should treat us. On you say that someone should never cross these boundaries. If you cross these boundaries, regardless of who you are, we are done. Okay? So have your non-negotiables in place. To respect them yourself. For example, if you say you're going to do something, kindly do it. And then tell people, just be frank with your boundaries. Tell them, but if you cross these, we are done. I don't care whether you are this or not. Man, at this point, if you are kind of trying to affect my peace of mind, like, we're just done, bro. We're just done, okay? So commit, like, have boundaries, have non-negotiables in place, and don't be silent when people try to step on your foot, bro, or my sister. No one has the right to step on your foot, bro. No one has the right to step on your foot, sister. Tell them, man, bro, you're crossing this and I just don't like it. So it's either you change or we're just done, okay? So until next time, you guys, take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys. Maybe because I tend to advise people to read books, let me show you something. Let me just come. Okay, so for the young people, I want you to go and buy this book. This book is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. So read it. If you're battling with bad habits, pornography, masturbation, you're battling with screen sucking, you're battling with alcohol addiction, you're battling with anything that is bad habit that is pulling you down, of course, buy this book, read it, How to Break Bad Habits, and you'll be fine, man. You don't have to worry. Just do the gradual step and be intentional. So this is the book I'm advising you guys to buy. And until next time, my guys, my sisters, my brethren, the beautiful and handsome people of the Lord, I'll see you guys. Take care. Make sure you hydrate and love yourself. Because at the end of the day, no one will love you better than God and than yourself. Thank you.